Once again, welcome to Mahobad Education YouTube channel. This is Somalingam Uppula, School Assistant Biological Science from ZPHS Penugonda, Mandal K. Samudram. Today our topic is to know the mechanism of urine formation in our body. The mechanism which is involved in the urine formation in our body. And of course we know the vital organs for excretion in our body, of course they are kidneys. Kidneys are the vital organs for excretion. They are working 24/7 to separate and collect the wastages to eliminate from the body. As a part of kidney, we discussed already the most important structure in the kidney known as nephron or uriniferous tubule. And of course, nephron is also known as structural and functional unit of the kidney. Today, now we are discussing how the nephron plays an important role in urine formation. We know the different parts in the nephron. So firstly, the afferent arteriole, which enters into Bowman's capsule after dividing to number of branches, which forms a network, is known as glomerulus. Now glomerulus is made with a single cell containing epithelial cells. Now the glomerulus, now all the blood capillaries united and form efferent arteriole. And of course, in the urine formation now, mostly here we have four important stages. First one, ultrafiltration. Second one, tubular reabsorption. Third one, tubular secretion. Fourth one, formation of hypertonic urine. Listen to me carefully. The mechanism of urine formation has mostly four different steps, four different stages. They are ultrafiltration, tubular reabsorption, tubular secretion, formation of high concentration urine. Now the first one, ultrafiltration, which takes place in the Bowman's capsule as well as glomerulus. Right now, the oxygen and nitrogen wastages blood present mostly in the afferent arteriole. Afferent arteriole, which is loaded with oxygen as well as nitrogenous wastages, now enters into glomerulus. By dividing number of times, it forms a network known as glomerulus. Afferent arteriole loaded with oxygen and various nitrogenous wastages after entering into Bowman's capsule. By dividing number of times, it forms a network known as glomerulus, and finally glomerulus formed as efferent arteriole. While the blood is moving along the glomerulus loaded with oxygen as well as nitrogenous wastages, now in the glomerulus filtration takes place. For this filtration requires some force, requires some energy, is provided by the variation in the diameters of afferent and efferent arterioles. And as we know, afferent arteriole has the more diameter, efferent arteriole has the less diameter. Due to the less diameter in the efferent arteriole, some pressure is increased in the glomerulus. Due to that pressure only easily in the glomerulus, blood is filtered. The process is known as ultrafiltration. Whatever the liquid is formed after the filtration known as ultrafiltrate or primary urine. In the first stage, the afferent arteriole loaded with oxygen and nitrogenous wastages after entering into Bowman's capsule, it forms a network known as the glomerulus. In the glomerulus, due to the pressure created by the afferent arteriole by having narrow diameter, now due to that force in the glomerulus, blood is easily filtered now. All the liquids, water, dissolved substances and micro elements are now entered into the primary filtrate. Only the macro elements like macro substances like blood cells, proteins and fats are retained in the bloodstream. So in the glomerulus, after filtration, we have a liquid, a fluid in the Bowman's capsule known as primary urine or ultrafiltrate. The whole process is known as ultrafiltration. And of course, our kidneys have the power to prepare the filtrate approximately 120 ml per minute. In our body, in only 1 minute, the kidneys can prepare 120 ml of primary urine or ultrafiltrate. Means in 24 hours in our body, 175 liters of the primary urine is formed. Now the whole process is known as ultrafiltration. Now the second stage in the urine formation is tubular reabsorption. And of course, the primary filtrate or primary urine contains some essential substances also: water, vitamins, enzymes, minerals, glucose, amino acids, and of course it has some wastages like ammonia, urea, uric acid, creatinine, some excess salts. So now the primary urine contains some essential as well as wastages also. So I told you already, in 1 day means in 24 hours the kidneys have the power to prepare 175 liters of primary urine. If we excrete such amount of primary urine in 1 day, leads to death. That is why from the primary urine, the important substances, huge amount of water and important elements, glucose, vitamins, enzymes, amino acids, minerals must be reabsorbed into peritubular network. The process is known as tubular reabsorption, takes place mostly in the PCT. PCT stands for proximal convoluted tubule or first convoluted tubule. So when the primary filtrate or ultrafiltrate enters into PCT, from that area, from the primary urine or ultrafiltrate, important substances, water, vitamins, enzymes are reabsorbed into peritubular network. The process is known as tubular reabsorption. In this place, more than 75% of the water reabsorbed into peritubular network, and the remaining primary urine which is moving along the Henle loop of Henle, some more amount of water again reabsorbed into peritubular network, especially at the loop of Henle, 10% of the water again reabsorbed into the body. Now the reabsorption takes place in the PCT and loop of Henle is known as tubular reabsorption, which is very important to maintain the balance in water as well as in the ions, known as homeostasis or osmoregulation. So to maintain the osmoregulation, to absorb the important essential substances into the body from the renal tubule, especially from PCT and loop of Henle, the important or essential substances are reabsorbed into the body, known as tubular reabsorption. The third one is tubular secretion. From the peritubular network, again some unnecessary harmful substances like ammonia, creatine, sodium, potassium, hydrogen, chloride, ions are now again transported into DCT, is known as tubular secretion. Now this action is mostly maintained in the active transportation method by consuming some amount of energy. Again, in the third stage, from the peritubular network, some harmful substances like ammonia, urea, creatinine, sodium, potassium, hydrogen, chloride, ions now transport into distal convoluted tubule or second convoluted tubule is known as tubular secretion, which is very important to maintain the pH value in the primary urine in the renal tubule. And finally, now the ultrafiltrate or primary urine now enters into collecting tube. Here we have the fourth stage of the mechanism involved in urine formation. Now, as we know, in 24 hours, the kidneys can prepare 175 liters of ultrafiltrate or primary urine. Out of 175 liters, 173.5 liters of the water and remaining important substances are now reabsorbed into the body to reduce the urine quantity. And again, at the DCT, whatever the primary urine now enters into collecting tube, again from the collecting tube, some more amount of water again reabsorbed into the body to increase the concentration of urine. This process mostly takes place in the collecting tube. Of course, the primary urine from the distal convoluted tubule, when enters into collecting tube, some more amount of water is removed from the urine to improve the concentration of urine. Now this process is mostly controlled by a hormone known as vasopressin produced by pituitary gland. From the endocrine system, the master gland, pituitary gland, secretes a hormone known as vasopressin. Vasopressin plays an important role to improve the concentration of urine by removing the water at a collecting tube of renal tube. So, the primary urine, after entering into collecting tube, due to vasopressin, some more amount of water reabsorbed, finally urine gets concentrated. If a person who doesn't have sufficient amount of vasopressin hormone, the person has to excrete huge amount of repeated and dilute urination. I repeat, if a person who doesn't have sufficient amount of vasopressin in its body, now the person has the repeated urination and as well as dilute, low concentration urine will be excreted a number of times, known as diabetes insipidus. Now diabetes insipidus is controlled by a hormone known as vasopressin, is also known as ADH. ADH stands for anti-diuretic hormone. When we take more amount of fluids and huge amount of water quantity in the body, in the time, the vasopressin production mostly goes slow down. That is why we excrete huge amount of dilute urine. So number of times, to maintain the homeostasis, to maintain the osmoregulation, huge amount of water again reabsorbed from the collecting tube by the action of a hormone known as vasopressin. The deficiency of vasopressin leads to repeated and dilute urination. Such disease is known as diabetes insipidus. So here we have the four important steps in the mechanism involved in urine formation. They are: ultrafiltration takes place in the glomerulus and Bowman's capsule. Tubular reabsorption takes place in the first or PCT, proximal convoluted tubule, as well as loop of Henle. Tubular secretion takes place in the DCT, distal convoluted tubule or second convoluted tubule. Now finally, high concentration of urine is formed in the collecting tube due to a hormone known as vasopressin. By removing the excess amount of water from the body, now urine gets concentrated. This is the mechanism involved in the urine formation. Okay, clear? Thank you.